Look at that big yacht right there. That's a big yacht. For around here it is. I mean, it's not Jeff Bezos big, no. But it's big for the Newport, Oregon. Today is Thursday, the last week of July 2025. Look at how dead this place is. There's not one customer at the Aquarium Village. Holy smokes. Not one single customer. Now it's only 10 o'clock in the morning. I don't see how people survive over here, make a living. There's not one single customer here at 10 a.m. What's that tell you about the economy? See, this is the kind of place you come and bring your kids and spend all crazy, stupid money. Well, what's that tell you about the economy? People don't have any crazy, stupid money left. Not one single customer over here. The last week of July, 1 week before the school starts again. Wow. Got the old sea monster going. Well, this has been the busiest summer down by Florence, where I live, that I've seen in 23 years. But the people aren't shopping and buying. It's the busiest traffic-wise, but it's not the busiest year in sales. Like if you own a small store, you're not making any more money. And you're paying more money. For, you know, to buy your stuff. And for your employees, minimum wage went up here again. It's $15.05 an hour in Oregon. Well, down in Lane County it is. And so people are not spending money like they would throughout the whole summer. Just all you gotta do, look at people walking around. Do they have bags in their hand buying stuff? What people do is they're not even going out to eat anymore because, you know, every meal is like $25. I mean, you go to McDonald's with 2 kids and your wife, it's $50. $40, it's crazy. Well, that's one thing about money. When it runs out, you're done. It's a lot harder to make money than it is to spend money. And once you spend it all, like last year, I noticed people were spending more money and trying to go as long as they could before school started. This year, I noticed they are out there, but they're going to like the grocery store and camping, and that's it. Those 2 things. They're not really filling up the motels. They're not buying any more cars. They're not buying a lot of clothes and stuff for back to school. Sales are down. You know, I saw a guy online last week. He said he was like in high school. He said, why does the school system force you to spend like $500 a year to go to school when school is required by law? Well, so they want you to buy your lunches, buy all your paper and pens and all that stuff, buy your computer, all this stuff, because school is required by law up to a certain age, depending on what state you come from. But to go to that school, they require you. It's more than $500 a year when you count your clothes and everything. I mean, lunches are like $30 a week for crappy school lunches. Now, when I went to school, when I was a kid in grade school, lunches were free. And I remember going to the 7th grade, they just started charging for lunches. They told our parents, now this was back, way back 50 years ago. They said, you got to start paying $3 a week for lunches. My mom was like, what? She almost flipped her wig. So, my mom said, no, I'll just send you a lunch. I said, okay. I mean, I was only 10 years old, so. But now schools, you buy all the supplies and they put them in a big pile and they share them with everybody. And you spent like $300 on supplies thinking it's for your child, but it's for all the children. So parents are smart today. They stopped doing that. They'll send their kid to school with like one 49-cent tablet and a pencil, and then they'll let the school supply everything else. Because the schools, well, even teachers spend some of their money so kids can go to school, which is crazy. So anyways, I only look at the economic part of it, not the political part. Could you imagine going to your job and they tell you you're required to spend like $2,000 a year to work here? Now, a lot of jobs are like that, like construction, auto mechanics. Maybe if you're a professional chef, you want to have your own utensils. There's someone living in a van right there, see? On the way up here today, from Florence, Oregon to Newport, Oregon, I saw like 60 people living in vehicles in 50 miles. More than one person per mile. Or I should say more than one vehicle. I don't know how many people are in the vehicles. I didn't stop and ask them and knock on the door. Hi. Could I ask you a few personal questions? Since you have nothing else to do all day. So I saw 50, 60, 65 vehicles. And that's the people's houses. And that was just on this road. And no, it wasn't people just traveling. No, this is full-time people. I'm not talking about all the thousands of RVs and Sprinter vans and truck campers and trailers. No, those are all different group of people. A whole different group of people. Down and around this corner is Ona Beach, O-N-A Beach. It's a beautiful park. Ona Beach State Park on the Oregon coast, just south of Newport. It's beautiful down there. But they got a cool bridge and a river, but you got to walk it's a long beach. I mean, you got to go, but when you go down there, there's these rock outcroppings that kind of come out of the ground, so go at low tide. And go at low tide in the winter, if you do that like me, looking for agates and stuff, because there's agates stuck in those rock outcroppings that come about 3 or 4 foot off the ground during the winter, and you go at low tide after the storm went out for about 3 hours. But it's a long, I mean, it's long. So it takes quite a while to walk the whole thing. It's right there. We just passed it. I have a, you'd probably never find it, but I have a playlist. I have several playlists on this channel about the Oregon coast. You can go check them out. I mean, I just hit 2,200 videos on this channel. But by the time this video goes up, it'll probably be closer to 2,500 videos on this channel. YouTube doesn't like you putting up a lot of videos, so you don't get a lot of hits. They like you putting up less videos and making more contact with the people watching them, you know, and I don't do that. I don't allow comments. I don't give my personal information. I don't want your personal information. I don't want to come to your house for Christmas just because you looked at a video of a bird I made or something, you know. Look at that car. I'll knock on your door at Christmas or Thanksgiving. Hi, I'm the guy you watched the video. Can I have some of your cranberry sauce? That's what people do online. Because they watched your video, they think they own a part of you now, or they're your best friend, or they want to meet you, or they want to get together. You don't even know who they are. But because they watched a couple videos, they think you're homies now, you know, you're best friends. And that can get a little creepy or a little dangerous sometimes. I just put up the videos, and if you want to watch them, that's good. If you get help from the Bible studies, that's fantastic. Other than that, that's good. You live your life, and I'll live my life. I've had many people over the years try to contact me when I used to allow comments and try to push themselves into my life without permission. It's kind of creepy. It's just a video. I'm not really going out of my way to make it. Basically, this is my life, and I'm just sharing it with people that may be interested in the Oregon coast or may be interested in Christianity and the Bible study. Or you might be interested in learning how to simplify your life, become debt-free. Those are the kind of things I talk about. Other than that, no, I'm not coming to your house for Thanksgiving. 90% of people don't make videos, they just watch. You don't participate, you're just a watcher. I don't even watch videos hardly. I hardly watch any videos on. I don't spend hardly that much time I spend time on YouTube putting up videos, but I do other things while I'm waiting for the video to go up. I don't really participate in YouTube that much. I don't have any other accounts. I've never bought one thing online. I've never given a credit card number online. I'm 63 years old. I'm all about the old school. I've never done any of this stuff. And I probably never will. And when Donald Trump tries to turn some of your savings into cryptocurrency like he's trying to do right now, I'm not going to participate in cryptocurrency for my money. I want to see a real dollar bill in my hand. Something you can hold that's tangible. Or even an ounce of silver or whatever you find to be value. Cryptocurrency has no value. There's nothing backing it. You remember when Nixon got us off the gold standard? And it almost collapsed the entire world. Right now, gold is supposed to be about $10,000 an ounce, and silver is supposed to be about $200 or $300 an ounce if you would have been doing it the old way before Richard Nixon. But when Nixon did it, it went up for a while, but then it's been stuck for 30, 40 years. The standard is supposed to be, gold is supposed to be about 1 month's wages, and silver is supposed to be about a day's wages. So silver should be $100 at least, and it's only like $35, $38 right now. I mean, it's gone for decades at like $6, $7, $8. And gold is now like $35 or $2,800, I can't, around $3,000. But a month's wages is, for an average middle-class person, is like $5,000. So these things are highly undervalued because they took us off the gold standard. Richard Nixon did. With no one's permission. He didn't even ask permission to do it. And Donald Trump, he's not asking anyone's permission to start selling cryptocurrency, and there will be no backing for it and no FDIC insurance for it. And people are going to run to do it. They said they're going to do that stable coin. Not Bitcoin, but stable coin. They're going to try to make the cryptocurrency more stable to where it doesn't fluctuate. It's called stable coin. But they're not sure. They're going to try to get out of insuring it FDIC insurance. So, I mean, could you see a bunch of Americans in 8 years from now, we got $1 trillion of American money in stable coin, and somehow it gets hacked on the internet and all goes away? And the government will say, okay, you remember the S&P, the savings loan debacle? Remember that? They lost about $1 trillion in the savings loan collapse back in the 90s. And then they had the where any kind of website online was all of a sudden worth like $100,000. I can't remember what it was called. And your stock in that website would double almost every week. And this went on for a few months. And then the entire thing collapsed. Another $1 trillion lost in value. Then you remember the Iraq War? We lost like $5 trillion. They don't even talk about it. And you remember the Great Recession in 2008 to 2014? They said we lost up to $10 trillion in value, and nobody knows where it went. So I've been around a little bit longer than most all the rest of you. So now I'm like, okay, now you want to start something called stablecoin because it's going to be so stable, right? And they're going to say, well, I guess we lost like, I don't know, another $10 trillion of value, and it never came back. Not sure what we should do. So who gets that money? Who gets all the money that is lost? If that makes sense to you. It goes somewhere. I'm going to leave that running. I'll be back. The words of Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'll be back. All right, I bought the whole store out. That's funny, I went in there. There's nothing like 3 little boys together. All they do is scream and yell, constantly, nonstop. You get 1 little boy that's just stand there and do nothing. 2 little boys, well, you know, 1 of them might do that. 3 little boys are like puppies. You get 1 puppy, it'll just sit there. You get 2 puppies, they'll just kind of fall over each other. You get 3 puppies and they're dumb, they're stupid. They run around, they'll start ripping everything apart. They'll start throwing things on the ground. That's what little boys do. That guy's 3-wheel electric bike there. That's what every elderly person's getting now. They stopped driving. I see 80-year-old grandmas on 2-wheel electric bikes where I live down the coast going 40 miles an hour across town. Oh, I'm not making that up. They are cruising. You can pick up a really super nice electric bike for $1,000. I mean, you can get them cheaper, but I mean a really nice one with baskets, nice tires, something that's going to last. $1,000. And that's not very much money for an elderly person. You're going to save $1,000 on gas in 1 year. And they're taking them down to you know, they'll ride them to the store, put a big lock on them. And they just save a ton of money doing that. I like Waldport. I mean, for the size of town, it's a nice little town. It's just a beautiful little town by the Alsea Bay, Alsea River. I mean, as long as, you know, you got an income and a cheap place to live. But if you buy a house here, you're going to have to go out of town to make money. Houses have gone way, way, way skyrocketed up here. Look at all these people waiting in line at this bakery. That must be a really good bakery, I'm telling you that. But you gotta have money in a small town, and you gotta have something to do. I mean, even if your children go to the school here, you have to make a living somewhere. So most people drive from here to Newport and work somewhere in Newport. And then they drive home to Waldport and live here. Kind of like the best of both worlds. But you know, that's a lot of driving. Boy, now you got a high car payment every year. You can't have a piece of junk used car and drive up and down the coast every day for 5 years to go to work. No, you got to have a really nice car. And there aren't hardly any mechanics here in Waldport, so you got to go to the mechanics in Newport. So now you're going to need 2 cars. That's why I always just have rented an apartment my entire life. I never bought a house. No house payment. Cheap rent, very cheap rent. I get along with all the neighbors everywhere I've lived. And then if you wanted, you could save the difference between the rent and the house payment. I mean, you could rent an apartment my entire life for $400 or $500 easily. But you can never buy a house for under like $800. So, you know, you could save that extra money every month. That guy looks tired. He looks wore out. I notice a lot of people 45 and up are just completely exhausted, wore out. Just completely, the whole life is just trashed. I mean, energy-wise, they have no energy. Junk food all day. They only sleep 6.5 hours a night. They only drink 1/3 of a gallon of water a day, and then they drink everything else. They drink alcohol. They smoke cigarettes, some of them. You are going to be completely exhausted when you hit 50 years old if that's your lifestyle. You're going to be dragging through the rest of your life if that's the kind of stuff you're putting in your body. That's how it is, man. I mean, most people are going to work today. They're just dragging to the end of their shift every single day. I find this the most interesting, well, actually, I'll save that. I'll make a video out of what I was about to say. You know, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, they started building a lot of houses over there. I wouldn't want to be there if a tsunami ever came, but they built these houses. And now the houses have almost tripled in value in 10 years. And now I've noticed, I drove over there, some of them are vacant, just sitting there completely empty. So I don't know if they're beach vacation rentals or the front yards aren't even mowed, like they've been abandoned, because I'm sure when your house triples in value, your taxes triple in value.